really make cacao production or the cacao business profitable, we must think first of the economic side. Because if your cacao trees will not earn money, the tendency would be to be cut down. It should be very productive because productivity is tantamount to profitability. And the second one is environmental. Especially most farmers doesn't know much on pollination. They even not seen the pollinators. Okay. Then social. I used to tell the farmers, no child labor policy. Definition of sustainable cocoa that is produced in accordance with economic, ecological, and social requirements, which means that its production is economical, environmentally friendly, and socially responsible without compromising the ability of future generations to satisfy their own needs. The quality of the beans is influenced by these 5 factors on farmers' level. First, the genetics, Criollo, Mestizo, that's the Forastero, and Trinitario. The World Cocoa Market distinguishes between 2 broad categories of cocoa beans, fine or flavor. Cocoa beans or bulk or ordinary cocoa beans. As a generalization, fine or flavor cocoa beans are produced from Criollo or Trinitario cocoa tree varieties. So don't get so excited with planting Criollo because Trinitario is considered fine flavor. We have the latest number of countries that produce fine flavor cocoa beans. As you can see, most of the countries are once colonies of Spain. But why can't we see the Philippines being under Spain rule for 350 years? As far as I know, these countries are fermenting their beans. In the Philippines, we even have the standard for unfermented beans. So, I would like to share this because there is one cooperative in Davao that won't buy UF18 because they say it's not good and some say it's unidentified forastero. But it's not. It's there. UF Selections or United Fruit is a Trinitario. Okay? In fact, the experiment of Doc Edward is on the UF clone. I would like you to know that this hybrid seed is then used to establish cocoa farms. Unfortunately, 80% of the genotypes from this hybrid seed are unproductive in the farmer's field. Asexual propagation. I have it in Romans 11:24 that says about grafting using olive tree. Grafting had been there 2,000 years ago. So we have to adopt asexual propagation by grafting. Discovery based. So you have the popular clones. I did it in Sumima Pakibato. The farmers will be the one assigning groups to weigh the pod, break the pods, count the beans, weigh the wet beans, then compute for the gross income. We have there the 4 popular clones now, except for PG610, which is a local selection from Marilog, Davao City. So, you have there the wet beans, the number of beans per pod, and the gross income using 50 pods per tree per year at 500 trees per hectare under coconut and at 30. I just use 30 pesos per kilogram wet beans. And the gross income using this given data for UF is 186,000, BR2584, W10 or M01 is 182,200, PG is 211,500. So we have clones also PVC, but let's go directly to the pod value because we encourage farmers to sell wet beans because they cannot be given all the post-harvest facilities by the government. Okay? So, we encourage them to sell wet beans. And this is the case. Pod value for BR25 is 10 to give you 1 kilo wet. You have 6 pods to give you 1 kilo wet. PBC 10 parts to 1 kilowatt, W10, EM617, and the PG. The last two clones are local, only 4. Which are the clones that are productive? This is it. Plant breeding is 99% selection and 1% hybridization. Because our clones mostly are exotic or foreign. BR25 and PBC123 from Sabah, Malaysia. We have W10 or MC1 from Indonesia. We have ICS 40 from Trinidad, and the K lines from the University of Karabat, Papua New Guinea. We should have our own, and we have a lot of trees to be selected that would give the better productivity. But I'll tell you, there's no such thing as super clone. So this is the original layout that we had when I was manager of Mars Cocoa Development Center at Pentisfina Farm. This is an experimental design in a randomized complete black design with 4 replicas. And with this, we did evaluation for 3 years. So I just cite some 3 clones. I'll talk on the pod index. Pod index is the number of pods that will give you 1 kilo dry beans. For PBC 123, it's 22.21. For UF18, 18. And for BR25 is almost 34. In the farmer side, if you have more BR25, you have to sleeve 34 times, round up. After 2 to 3 months, you have to harvest 34 times, break the pods, dry them, and you get 1 kilo. But for UF18, just 18 pods to sleeve, 18 pods to harvest, and process, then you get 1 kilo. Okay? Now, we'll go to the bean recovery. PVC is 36%, UF is 34%, BR is 29%. Friends, this is a 3-year study, okay? Experimentally designed. Now, if I am a group of farmers selling 1,000 kilos, mostly BR25, how many kilos will I get? If I sell it to the cooperative of, say, Mr. Christopher Lindo. So, you have 290 kilos out of 1,000 kilograms worth of BR25 clones. But if I sell to Chris Lindo 1,000 kilos of mostly UF18 at 34.56, round it up, I have 350 kilograms dry beans. Folks, if you are going to really have this farm maintained properly, that would be between 5,000 to 7,000 tons. So the difference between BR and UF, that would be very big. If those farmers have already UF18 plantings, which is very low in productivity, you have to undergo clonal rehabilitation using these clones and based on this data. Recently, I had some compatibility tests done. As you see the sex symbol, the arrow is the male. We made the clones male, and down the cross is UF18. So we hand pollinated W10 with UF18. The result, C is compatible. They produce fruits. Then PG crossed with UF18, it produced fruits. PBC with UF18, it produced fruits. UF18 by UF18, after 48 hours, the flowers follow. But I would like to share our study when I was with Cocoa Investors Incorporated, owned by Nanding Kuangko. So, it's an unpublished report, but this is what, as far as I can remember, we have the clones U81, U82, U40, U6, and PBC1 to 3. You see, I is self-incompatible. But one good clone, which is also resistant to vascular streak dieback, PBC123, is all compatible. So, if we really go to research deeply, because my research assistants are farmers, Okay? So, if we can have self-compatibles but cross-compatibles, I'll tell you, yield would be tremendous. Pollination. This has something to do with pollinator population and insecticide spraying. I had a trial of 100 meters, and this is what we did. August 29, we did insecticide and foliar spraying on a 100-meter row of cocoa. Then we get some pollinator, we got 220. Then the following day, we did the spraying. One day after spraying, no pollinators. Second day after spraying, 6 pollinators caught, maybe from the other rows. Then on the third day after spraying, 13 was caught. On the fourth day after spraying, no pollinators were caught. They all went to church. On the fifth day, it's 43. September 5, the sixth day, it's almost the same population. So, what will happen to those 5 days when there is less pollination? Remember, 48 hours without pollination, flowers drop or fall off. Farmers, please, don't clean your farm. No sweeping, no burning. But I see farmers still practicing sweeping their farm. Fortunately, there's one pond. You have swept the breeding site for the pollinators, and you burn their habitat. Planting distance. There's a lot of confusion between planting distance. At 2.4 by 2.4 aggregate, this is for the 12 years, the number of the beans, the volume of beans produced, 8,804. But with the 3 by 3 meters, 9,710, and with a wider planting distance, 3.7 by 3.7, it's 9,663. So, it's for you farmers to choose what planting distance are we going to use. Shade establishment. This is also very critical. Shade establishment. Establishing cocoa is easiest where it is possible to underplant another crop. But the only crop providing suitable shade for mature cocoa is the coconut palm. We are the second largest producer of coconuts. Complete removal of shade gives rise. I agree. It really gives rise to high yields, which are, however, difficult to maintain over long periods. It seems that shade removal shortens the economic life of cocoa trees. Cacao under coconut. And this is Dorian Cacao Intercrop at Mangaron Farm, Maragusan. This is about 650 meters above sea level, while Malagos is about 300 to 350. And this is Samal Island under coconuts and Cardaba bananas. Shade again. As you can see, there was a trial in Tapo using a melonado. In 1957, those treatments, shade, no fertilizer, shade with fertilizer, no shade, no fertilizer, etc., and no shade with fertilizer, almost have the same phosphorus content. But after, say, 15 years, there was a depletion, significant depletion, because P deficiency is below 15, significant depletion of phosphorus under shade, no fertilizer, no shade, no fertilizer, but almost no significant difference, very low depletion of phosphorus between shade with fertilizer and no shade with fertilizer. If some farmers don't know what's Gliricidia, that's Madre de Cacao. In every training with the farmers, I used to ask them about 90 to 95% don't have soil analysis. I have nothing against organic. Organic is good, but this is what I found out with a German scientist named Liebig, that you see the illustration of the food using organic and using organic with plant nutrients in mineral fertilizer. Proof: application of minerals as plant nutrients increase yield and enabled much higher production. So, I used to recommend combination of both organic and mineral fertilizers. Now, I'm experimenting with the help of the farmers using mycorrhiza and trichoderma spar. Well managed, and that's at Kennemer, Tagum City. These are plantings from 6 by 10 PE bags. Okay? Samal. Using 6 by 10 PE bags. Perforated, gusseted. 6 by 10. If you plant to we call this plant cacao, if you want it 5 to 6 months, then you can use 6 by 10. If you plan to make it 10 to say 1 year, then you can use bigger bags. But I'm saying this, these are 6 by 10 bags. Okay? And also the GBM farm in Tugbok district under coconuts. He only fertilized cacao, but his yield in coconuts doubled after 5 years. And these are the wet cacao bean consolidation. There's really vibrance in the wet buying business. A farmer who is 80 years old. The means of transportation are very on Carabao. That's the facility of farmers group, not a cooperative, not a private one, but farmers group. We practice gender sensitivity because I believe that gender sensitivity will add value to your beans. And the praying and laying of hands before shipment. Friends, allow me to share this before I end my presentation. The hardworking farmer should be the first to receive a share of the crops. 2 Timothy 2:6. Not the traders, not the processors, but the farmers. God bless the work of your hands.